We're shifting focus away from the tumultuous Middle East towards the war that is taking place in Europe. The Russian Defense Ministry has confirmed that Russian air defense forces intercepted 33 Ukrainian drones across several regions and over the Black Sea as well. The ministry has stated the defense systems destroyed 16 drones over Rostov region, 7 over Krasnodar, 3 over Belgorod, 1 over Kursk and 6 over the Black Sea. The overnight attacks caused significant disruption in the Rostov region in particular, where a Ukrainian drone strike damaged a boiler house in the town of Gukovo. The facility supplies heating to 128 apartment buildings, along with 2 hospitals, 4 schools and 6 kindergartens as well. Authorities have evacuated staff and suspended heating as a precaution. Governor Yuri Slyusa has stated that bomb disposal engineers will inspect the site before repair work begins. Additional drone activity was reported in Novoshakhtinsk and the Chertkovsky and Myasnikovsky districts. Despite the scale of the attacks, officials say that there are no immediate reports of casualties. On the other hand, according to Ukraine's State Emergency Service, a Russian drone strike has killed 1 person and wounded 11 others, including a child near Kiev. The attack targeted Vyshgorod, a town on the outskirts of the Ukrainian capital. There were reportedly more than 500 drones and 19 missiles that were launched by the Russians in the overnight attack that took place. Joining us on the broadcast is Professor Rohan Gunaratne, International Affairs expert from Singapore. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. We've, of course, been discussing these attacks. They're taking place every day, back and forth across both territories. Now, what's also interesting is that the area over the Black Sea has been targeted by the Ukrainians. Interestingly, the Caspian Pipeline Consortium's Black Sea terminal was also attacked, thereby halting operations. This has been the 3rd such attack that has taken place. And these strikes have been carried out by the Ukrainian armed forces. A Navy drone was used, reportedly that was sent by the British. The Kazakhstan Foreign Ministry has criticized this attack and has protested the targeting of critical infrastructure. What do you make of this statement that has come out from Kazakhstan?
What we have seen is a very sharp escalation in the fight between Russia and Ukraine. Both these parties have been attacking each other. It's a tit-for-tat fight, but there was a very steep escalation both in the aerial and in the maritime domain, especially after the Ukrainian intelligence service working with Ukraine's naval forces attacked 2 ships and sank both ships in the Bosphorus that was moving to Russia to transport oil from Russia. So what is called the Russian shadow fleet was attacked by Ukraine. And since then, we have seen a very sharp escalation in the strikes from Russia and, of course, Ukraine striking back. And there's deep concern whether this escalation is going to result in more destruction of assets and of people on both sides.
Indeed. Speaking of the fact that negotiations are still taking place, we'd seen meetings in Geneva earlier, Abu Dhabi as well. We're currently seeing a delegation of the Ukrainians in the United States trying to iron out the final details. But I wanted a perspective from you into, what sort of revelations were made earlier. The original plan that was drafted, it did see a lot of concessions being made to Russia, the fact that sanctions would be lifted on a case-by-case basis, the fact that Russia would be reinducted into the augmented G8, and Ukraine would have to cede territory. Russia has, of course, drawn the red line on all of this. There is an amended draft that is in the works, that is yet to be finalized. Do you think the new draft that is revealed by the Americans would include all of these points, or would European pressure lead to maybe some of these not figuring out?
Certainly, as you very rightly mentioned, The Americans have put a lot of pressure on Ukraine because under this agreement that is being worked out, Ukraine cannot be a part of NATO. The biggest challenge for Russia is that countries bordering Russia on the European side are being co opted by NATO, and of course, NATO is building their capabilities in those countries, and that poses an imminent threat to Russian security. So, what is paramount is to understand the Ukraine Russia fight is a direct result of European countries influencing the countries in the neighborhood of Russia and threatening Russia's security and stability. Only when that is neutralized, this fighting will stop. That is why the Russians have made certain demands on territory, made demands on the membership of Ukraine with regard to NATO, and similar concessions so that there can be a permanent peace. Otherwise, these negotiations will not result in a permanent peace but only a very temporary ceasefire.
Indeed. We've also seen statements from Zelensky just today morning. He had, in fact, stated that what's really required for Ukraine at the moment is bolstering its air defenses. Interestingly, there's a meeting that is lined up between President Zelensky and President Macron of France. It's going to take place in Paris very, very soon. What are your expectations from this particular meeting? Macron, as we know, he's been trying to position himself as the leading voice in Europe that is backing Ukraine. There was also a deal for the Rafales recently. That's more of a long-term plan.
Countries backing Ukraine should understand that the threat is going to spread beyond Ukraine into the rest of Europe. So it is better for the European countries, including Macron, to ensure that this great opportunity is harnessed and there is peace between Ukraine and Russia. More than supporting Ukraine to fight Russia, what is important for those leaders is to understand the importance of restoring peace, stability, and security in Ukraine with Russia so that Europe itself can have social harmony, political stability, and also, most importantly, economic prosperity. This war, if it continues, what's going to happen is it's going to destabilize the West, especially Europe, and of course, with escalation, it will affect the security and stability of the entire Western region.
Indeed. And one last question as far as this war is concerned. We're also expecting, since we're on the topic itself, we're also expecting French President Macron to head to China in a short while itself. Over there, he's most likely not just going to represent his own country's economic considerations, but also talk about the war, the fact that although China has not been directly supplying weapons to the Russians, it has been supplying dual-use items, lithium-ion batteries, or even fiber optic cables that are then used to manufacture drones to strike into Ukraine. It's the largest importer of Russian oil as well. How do you think this will go down with the Chinese?
Chinese have built the infrastructure in Russia so that Russia will be able to sustain the fight. As you rightly mentioned, what we have seen is that the dual user capabilities are paramount to advance the fight, and that's what the Chinese have done, and that has enabled Russia to withstand the support Ukraine has received from the West, especially from Europe, to fight Russia. So I believe that the visit of Macron is paramount because the Chinese must be told that for there to be a global peace and global stability and global security, there should be great understanding between these two parties, meaning that if Russia continues to receive support and if Ukraine continues to receive support from Europe, that means there will be no restoration of peace and stability.
All right, sir, requesting you to stay on with us as we're tracking some crucial developments, this time from Honduras. Hondurans are voting today in a closely contested presidential election